Hello and welcome, dear students. Hope you might be all well. Today we are going to discuss morphology and anatomy of earthworm, Pheretima posthuma. First, let me tell you guys that the word morphology is used to describe the external features, external structural features of an organism. Similarly, the anatomy is used to describe the internal organization of an organism. So let's begin. First, we will begin through the classification of earthworm. Earthworm is actually an invertebrate, belongs to phylum Annelida, class Oligochaeta, order Ophistophora, genus Pheretima, and species Posthuma. You all might have seen earthworm. Its external features you might have noticed. It is a reddish brown terrestrial invertebrate that inhabits the upper layer of moist soil, but during the daytime they live in the burrows made by boring the soil and swallowing it. In the gardens, we can find or we can trace the earthworm by their fecal deposits, which are commonly known as worm casting. There are many species of earthworms, but the most common Indian earthworms are Pheretima and Lumbricus. Now, the worms, that is earthworms, as we have already discussed their habitat, that is their habitat is moist soil. The worms eat the soil continuously, and the burrows are created which helps them to move progressively downwards. The organic content of the soil are digested and absorbed in the gut, while the residual soil is discharged by its uns at the opening of the burrow as casting, usually known as worm casting. Here you can see earthworm. We will discuss all these features like this swollen region here and all that. Here you can see its mouth, uns, clitorum. The mouth is covered with a flap known as prostomium, which is sensory in function. It also has the bristles on majority of its segments. We will go through that. Now, morphology. Earthworm has long cylindrical body which is usually divided into more than hundreds of short segments which are similar to one another. These metamers or segments are about 100 to 120 in number. The body has two surfaces, that is dorsal surface and ventral surface. The dorsal surface is marked by the dark median mid-dorsal line having dorsal blood vessel along its longitudinal axis of the body. Ventral surface is distinguished by the presence of genital openings, that is pores. Segments. As we all know that the body of earthworm is metamerically segmented anterior and consists of mouth and the prostomium, which is actually a flap, sensory in function over the mouth, a lobe which serves as cowering for the mouth, and as a wedge to force open cracks in the soil into which the earthworm may crawl. The prostomium, as already said, is sensory in function. The first body segment is called peristomium. Keep it in mind, the first body segment is called peristomium. which is actually the buccal segment which contains the mouth. In mature worms, segment number 14 to 16 are covered by prominent dark band of glandular tissue. Dark band of glandular, that means it is secretory in function, tissue called clitellum. Thus the body is divisible into three prominent regions: periclitellar, that is before clitellum; clitellar, that is clitellum or having the region having clitellum; and postclitellar, that is after clitellum. Genital opening. We all know that earthworms are hermaphrodite. That means they have both male as well as female reproductive organs in the same organism or the same individual. Four pairs of spermathecal apertures are situated on the ventrolateral, that's lower and side, on the lower side and on one of the sides of the intersegmental groove of the segment number 5th to 9th. A single female genital pore is present in the mid-ventral line of segment number 14. A pair of male genital pores are also present on the ventrolateral side of 18th segment. 17th and 19th segment represents the genital papillae. Locomotion. In each body segment, except the first and the last and clitellar region, there are rows of S-shaped setae embedded in the epidermal pits in the middle of each segment. Setae can be extended or retracted. Their principal role is locomotion. Now, the question is, how do earthworms reproduce? First of all, not every earthworm segment bears sex organ. Continuing from the front, that is segment number 1st, the worm's male sex cells lies in the segment number 10 and 11. From here, sperm passes through sperm duct to two male genital openings on the bottom of segment number 15. On segment number 9 and 10, there are two minuscule sacs, that's minute small sacs, called sperm receptacles, where the sperms are kept, or pores, where during earthworm sex sperms are deposited. However, there is not this is not where the eggs are produced. That means it doesn't represent the female region, or it doesn't represent the ovary. It is actually, or in simpler terms we can say, it is actually a receptacle where the sperms are kept, or where the sperms are deposited during coitus. The egg producing ovaries resides in segment number 13, from which eggs are released through the female pores in egg sacs in segment number 14. That means ovaries lies in segment 13 and are released through the female pores into segment number 14, which represents egg sacs. Finally, there is an elastic, rubbery, arm-like band, thin covering, which covers the worm's body from segment 31 to or 32 up to 37, and this is called clitellum. Here you can see the different parts of the earthworm. You can go through its digestive system, its sensory system, its nervous system. Okay. Now, anatomy. Now we will go through the internal structural organization of earthworm. First of all, we must go through the external body covering or the muscular tissues which composes the body of earthworm. The body wall of earthworm is covered externally by a thin covering, which is non-cellular cuticle covering. You might have noticed this as a shiny covering over the earthworm when they are above the ground and the sun shines on them. You will have seen that. I hope you must have gone through that. So, this non-cellular cuticle has an epidermis layer below it and two muscular layers. One is circular muscular layer and the second one is longitudinal. And the innermost coelomic epithelium, that means the epithelium which covers the coelomic cavity of the earthworm. The epidermis is made up of a single layer of columnar epithelial cells which contains secretory gland cells. Now let us discuss alimentary canal. The alimentary canal is a straight tube and runs between first to last segment of the body. That means it runs through the entire body of the earthworm. A terminal mouth opens into the buccal cavity which lies in the segment number first to third, which leads into the muscular pharynx. A small narrow tube, the esophagus, which lies in the segment number 5 to 7, continues into the muscular gizzard present in segment number 8 and 9. It helps in grinding the soil particles and decaying leaves. Extra, the stomach extends from segment number 19 to 14. Here you can see mouth is immediately followed by pharynx. Then there is a tube from pharynx known as esophagus. There is a swollen region which represents the crop and much more swollen region which represents the gizzard of the earthworm. As you all know, the earthworm feeds upon dead and decaying leaves and organic matter mixed within the soil. The soil has humic acid present in it which makes it somewhat acidic. So, in order to neutralize the acidic content of the soil, the calciferous glands present in the stomach neutralizes the humic acid present in humus. Intestine starts from segment number 15 onwards and continues till the last segment. A pair of short and conical intestinal calcae projects from the intestine on the segment number 26. The characteristics of intestine between 26th to 35th segment is the presence of the internal median fold of dorsal wall called the typhlosole. As we have, or we can say, as humans have microvilli which increases the surface area of the intestine so as to perform much absorptive functions. Likewise, it forms a longitudinal tube-like structure. Longitudinal foldings are there which increases the effective surface area of absorption in the earthworm, giving it a tube within a tube-like appearance. The alimentary canal opens to the exterior by a small rounded aperture called uns. The ingested organic rich soil passes through the digestive tract where digestive enzymes breaks complex food into smaller absorbable units. These simpler molecules are absorbed through intestinal membrane and are utilized for the development and growth. Now, blood vascular system. The blood vascular system of earthworm is closed type. That means The blood vascular system consists of blood vessels, capillaries, and heart. The blood is confined in the heart and blood vessels. Contraction keeps blood circulating in one direction. The gut region, nerve cord, and the body vessels are supplied by smaller blood vessels. There are certain blood glands present in fourth, fifth, and sixth segment which are meant to produce blood cells and hemoglobin, which is dissolved in blood plasma. Blood cells also are phagocytotic in nature. That means they perform the function of phagocytosis and protects or helps the earthworm in the immune responses. Earthworm lacks specialized breathing devices, therefore respiratory exchange occurs through the moist body surface in their bloodstreams. Excretory system. The excretory organs occur segmentally arranged coiled tubules called nephridia, singular nephridium. Nephridia are similar to those as phlegm cells in others, Malpighian tubules in some others, and in earthworm, the excretory organs are represented by a pair of nephridia. These nephridia are of three types. These are septal nephridia, integumentary nephridia, and pharyngeal nephridia. Septal nephridia are present on both the sides of intersegmental septa on segment 15 to the last that opens into the intestine. Integumentary nephridia attached to the lining of the body wall of segment 3 to the last that opens on the body surface. And pharyngeal nephridia presents as three paired tufts in the fourth, fifth, and sixth segment. Here you can see nephridia. These are parallelly arranged, represented by green dots. Here you can see the circulatory system. Actually, the blood vessels are also shown there. Dorsal blood vessel is there, and 5 pairs surrounding the heart, surrounding the esophagus. That is the heart. 5 pair of hearts are there, surrounds the esophagus. Now, nervous system. Nervous system is basically represented by ganglia arranged segment-wise on the ventral paired nerve cord. Okay, that means the nerve cords lie ventrally in earthworm. The nerve cords in anterior region, that is third and fourth segment, bifurcates, that is divides laterally, encircling the pharynx, that is get coiled around the pharynx, and joins the cerebral ganglia dorsally to form a nerve ring. The cerebral ganglia, along with other nerves in the ring, integrate sensory input as well as command muscular responses of the body. Sensory system. Though the earthworm lacks eyes, but does possess light and touch sensitive organs, or we can say receptors or receptor cells, so as to distinguish the light intensities and to feel the vibrations in the ground. Worms have specialized chemoreceptors, that means they are able to taste, which react to chemical stimuli. These sense organs are located on the anterior part of worm. Here you can see brain, which lies on the ventral region. There is the nerve cord, ganglia, and brain. Here different internal organs are present and are shown. You can see nephridia, you can see intestine. Typhlosole is shown, which represents the tube within a tube-like organization. Central nerve cords are shown. Oviduct is there. Sperm ducts are there. Seminal receptacles are there. Okay. Reproductive system. Earthworm is hermaphrodite, as we have already said that. That means they are bisexual, which means testes and ovaries are present in the same individual. There are two pairs of testes present in the 10th and 11th segment. Their vasa differentia runs up to 18th segment, where they joins the prostatic duct. Two pairs of accessory glands are present, one pair each in 17th and 19th segment. The common prostate and spermatic duct very differential, it's vas differential, opens to the exterior by a pair of male genital pore on the ventrolateral side of the 18th segment. Four pairs of spermatheca are located in the segment number 66th and 9th, one pair in each segment. They receive and store spermatozoa during copulation. One pair of ovary is attached at the intersegmental septum of 12th and 13th segment. Ovarian funnels are present beneath the ovaries, which continue into oviduct, joined together and open on the ventral side as a single median genital pore on the 14th segment. Here you can see testes, seminal vesicle, vas deferens, ovaries, and ovarian funnel. All these type of structures are present within the same individual, thus they are known as hermaphrodite organisms. Here we can show the sexual act of the sperm of the earthworms. They are arranged in juxtaposition. Fertilization and development. A mutual exchange of sperm occurs between two worms during mating. One worm has to find another worm and they mate juxtaposing opposite gonadal openings, exchanging packets of sperms called spermatophores. Mature sperms and eggs and nutritive fluids are deposited in cocoons produced by the gland cells which are present there in clitellum. Fertilization and development occurs within the cocoon, which are deposited in the soil. That means fertilization and development occurs in the cocoon, which represents external fertilization. The ova, eggs are fertilized by thales, the worm embryos. After about 3 weeks, each cocoon produced about 2 to 20 baby worms, with an average of 4 baby worms from each cocoon. Earthworm's development is direct as there is no larva formed. Now, let's go through the economic importance. As we all know that the word earthworm is also known as friends of farmers because they keep on burrowing into the soil and make the soil porous, which helps in the respiration and penetration of the developing plant roots, and the worm casting formed after the undigested soil is excreted from the body of worm is highly nutritive, which is known as vermicomposting, which increases the fertility of soil. That's why the earthworms are known as friends of farmers. They are also used as bait in game fishing. So this is all for today. Hope you guys will understand it deeply when going through your textbooks and other references also. So goodbye, have a nice day. Thank you.